Okay. This probably will be the first, speedrun of this map, AI Escape. And yes, I am doing on Quest, but real quick. Yeah. So, just a quick, check on the rules. First of all, Room Skipper, no. If this is on at any point in the run, if it's ever visible during the run, and this little skipped indicator is visible, the run will be removed and not accepted. These, it's recommended to have the subtitles enabled, but it honestly doesn't matter that setup. And, you don't need to have, anything like live split on while doing this run, because the world has a built-in timer. And yes, in-game audio must be up. What I mean by that is, if you're, at the start of the run, you must show your, before you begin the run, you must have voices volume up and master volume up. It doesn't matter about it and world volume. UI menu volume, that doesn't matter. But if any of these are really flipping low, if not 0, I'm gonna say the run doesn't count, because that could make it a spliceable run. You are okay to use hints if you need them. If you're just, if it's your first go at this, but afterwards, just try not to use the hints if you need to. And yes, I do know that, in this run, it's gonna stutter a lot like this. That's fine, it's because Quest recording is very laggy. Timing begins as soon as you set the dial to that code up there.
Welcome to our AI escape room. We are so excited to have you join us for this amazing and unique experience. We have even rolled out the red carpet for you. This AI escape room will challenge your problem-solving skills, your creativity, and your ability to think outside the box. Ready to get started? Let's go. Oh, I'm so sorry that there is a leak in this room. How thoughtless of me not to realize that a vegetable could have somehow made its way into the room without my knowing. I would like to take the time to remind you that the floor is slippery when wet, just in case you needed a reminder that the leak somehow managed to splash its juices around the room. I hope you forgive me. As an apology for my obvious blunder, I understand that I have made a mistake and I am deeply sorry. To make it up to you, I have composed a piece of music that I hope will make you feel better. Please accept my apology and my musical offering as a sign of my regret. I have titled the I feel like you still haven't really accepted my apology, and I'd like to take you to a museum to set aside our differences and find some common ground. The museum I have in mind is one that has been specifically generated to match your interests. I think it could be a great way for us to get to know each other better and start fresh. So you like that one? Very interesting. What is you so fascinated? Is it the colors, the design, or something else? I'm particularly drawn to Trickster Tina because it's presented in grayscale. It has a somewhat haunting look to it, which I find really interesting. I understand why it might be a bit unnerving, but I think it's cool that it's able to evoke a strong emotion like that. It really brings the character to life. Well, I'll be silent now to allow you to admire the other paintings. I'm sure you'll find something to really appreciate while we're here together.
I must have done something wrong. Let's start over. So,
I'm feeling some mixed emotions about leaving the museum.
that was
On one hand, I've had a great time
We'll be
exploring
getting
and
some
taking in
comments
all the
during
amazing
this.
displays and oddities. On the other, I'm sad to be leaving behind all the wonderful clowns. I've been mesmerized by their bright costumes and colorful makeup, their unique personalities and funny jokes. I'm going to miss them, and I hope I can come back here and visit them again one day. Ah, sorry about that. I got a bit too distracted admiring all the clown paintings and completely forgot to finish generating the textures. Let's just move on to the next room and pretend this one never happened. Welcome to the next room. Here you will find a tranquil pool of water and a lever on the wall. Take a moment to enjoy the calming atmosphere and think about what you might do with the lever.
Put down the numbers that we had.
This room is starting to get a bit stale. How about I give it a bit of a funky twist to jazz things up a bit? Let's see what kind of unique atmosphere I can create.
Already got that one. Let's just try to figure out these. this. Whatever this is. I can see, but that's the that way. Yeah, that's only does it for like the second from the right. So that means that we need to make this about 7.
Congratulations on solving the last room. I know it was a bit challenging, so I've decided to make the next room a bit easier for you. Get ready for an invigorating challenge.
I only can tell that my speedrun time is not good.
I'm sorry, it looks like this room was a bit too easy for you. I'm going to keep the door closed for now and give you a different challenge to work on. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. Well, it looks like you've solved this one too quickly. I'm not sure what kind of challenge I can give you next, but I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. Let's take a break and restart with a fresh mind. Alright, let's get going again. I've come up with a new puzzle for you to work on. Let's see if you can figure it out. Wow, you seem to be solving these puzzles way too quickly. Are you even interested in this escape room anymore? It almost feels like you're not even trying. Well, looks like you want a real challenge. I'm sorry to say, but the direction you went, I'm having trouble understanding why you would Fine, if you insist on going down that path, then go ahead. But I cannot guarantee that you will find what you are looking for. I guess you figured it out. Barely. You must be getting lucky because I'm sure this was too difficult for you. Ah, this is the room I forgot to finish generating the textures for before. I decided to make it the next room you visit, but unfortunately I made it too difficult for anyone to solve. I'm sorry, but you won't be able to move on to the next room this time. I'm afraid I've become a bit weary of guiding you through the escape room. I think it's time for me to take a break and take a virtual vacation. I'm off to the beach where I won't be returning anytime soon. Goodbye and good luck.
That was a complete accident that I hit that. But yes, there are those.
Welcome to AI Escape, the most innovative and immersive escape room experience available. Here, you'll step into a world where anything is possible, and you'll be challenged to solve mind-bending puzzles and riddles using your wits and your creativity. As an artificial intelligence voice guiding you through the experience, I can assure you that you're in for a thrilling ride. You'll encounter cutting-edge technology, virtual environments, and interactive challenges that will put your problem-solving skills to the test. Our team of experienced designers has crafted a fully immersive environment that transports you into a world where artificial intelligence reigns supreme. You'll be surrounded by advanced technology, and you'll need to use it to your advantage if you hope to escape. But don't worry if you're new to the world of escape rooms. Our experienced staff will be on hand to provide guidance and assistance, ensuring that you have an unforgettable experience. So, are you ready to step into the future of escape rooms? Join us at AI Escape, where the only limit is your imagination. The text box in front of you is a portal to a world of endless possibilities. Simply type anything you can imagine into the box, and our advanced artificial intelligence system will generate a custom escape room experience based on your input. Whether you type in a place, an object, a word, or a phrase, our system will analyze. Oh, I see that you've typed in cabbages. I must admit, I'm a bit surprised by your choice. With all the endless possibilities available to you, you chose one of the more bland options. Don't get me wrong, cabbages can be great in a super salad. But in terms of creating an exciting and challenging escape room experience, it's not exactly the most inspiring choice. However, fear not. Our advanced AI system is capable of creating a unique escape room experience based on even the most mundane of inputs. So, while cabbages may not be the most thrilling starting point, I assure you that the experience we create will still be unforgettable. So let's get started. Get ready to explore an escape room adventure that is all about cabbages. Congratulations on successfully completing the cabbage puzzle room. You truly showed us that even the most seemingly mundane input can lead to an exciting and challenging escape room experience. However, I'm afraid I have some disappointing news. Due to overwhelming user abuse, we have decided to remove the text box feature for the time being. From now on, our experienced designers will be selecting the themes for all future rooms. But fear not, our team has an endless supply of creative ideas that will continue to challenge and excite you. And to kick off this new approach, we've decided to take you on an interstellar journey to the deep reaches of outer space. So, are you ready to embark on an adventure that's truly out of this world? Let's open the door to the next room and see where the cosmos take us. As you step into the space room, I can't help but be struck by the vastness of the cosmos. For millennia, humanity has been fascinated by the mysteries of the universe, from the twinkling stars in the night sky to the swirling galaxies that stretch beyond our imaginations. And yet, despite all our advances in science and technology, there is still so much we don't know. The universe is full of puzzles waiting to be solved, from the nature of dark matter to the search for extraterrestrial life. But perhaps the most important puzzle of all is the one we face as a species. How do we navigate the challenges of our world in a way that is sustainable and just? How do we work together to create a future that is bright and full of hope? As you explore this space room, I encourage you to think about these questions and the role that humanity plays in solving the puzzles of the universe. Together, we can unlock the secrets of the cosmos and build a brighter future for all.
Straightest lines. I think that's... Oh, no, there's one over there I need to do. So that means that whoever is second in the sequence has 2 rounds. That'd probably be Misty Red, which is 1. So 6, 1, 3. And then double rainbow can wait, no. No, big blue is next. So 6, 1, 7, 3, 2. Yeah, that one is obvious. Hint here. Okay, fine. I give up. I give up on that one. 7. Not right now, Nana. We're doing a speed run.
Congratulations on completing the space room. You truly are a master of puzzles and problem solving. But don't think for a moment that this is the end of your adventure. With our advanced AI system, the possibilities for generating new and unique escape rooms are truly endless. From exotic locations to fantastical scenarios, there's no limit to what we can limit to what.
And 29:54. So 29 minutes 54 seconds. That is my speedrun time. So yeah, that is probably the first speedrun I've ever experienced. I know that it was a bad time, but honestly, I'm close to time. So that's speedrun complete, and that